Hello, Alethea. It's not the easy. My wife has also a hard name, and I call her something else. But Alethea from Ships in the Night. Thank you for joining me this morning, your evening. Can you please introduce yourself a little bit and tell the listeners what you are? Yeah, what you are doing.
Yeah, I'm Alethea. I have a solo electronic project called Ships in the Night, and I play synths and make beats and sing. I usually describe it as sort of dark, atmospheric electronic music. When pressed, genres aren't my thing, but when it comes on.
Yeah. Genres. I'm absolutely with you. It's as I'm a radio DJ as well, so I know they need to be there, but sometimes I find them quite limiting because it's when you have something in mind. And anyway, I have to admit I'm a big fan, so that's for me it's a little fanboy moment to have you on. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
I find your song. I found your song "Lost Times," and this is just like that's the perfect song for me. It's I could listen for it in a loop and wouldn't get tired of it. It's perfect. Your voice, your instrument. Maybe we can start there because I see in the background, besides the cat, I see what's the name of a cat?
A Sprite. Her name's
Sprite.
Sprite. I have
I
two
see.
sister cats, so
Oh,
Sprite
oh,
and
I see. So okay, I see a harp and two guitars. One is an acoustic and one seems like electronic. So you already said you are a solo artist. So you play all the instruments yourself, I'm taking?
Yeah, yeah, I do. And these instruments I use less in my Ships in the Night recordings, but I have actually played the harp once or twice with Ships in the Night on stage live. It's really a pain, but yeah, I do play all the instruments and everything on my recordings. I produce it, and pretty
Oh,
much the whole thing. Yeah.
cool. And uh, maybe can you give me some more musical background where you are coming from? Because I mean the harp is a very unusual instrument. So I don't think you learn this in normal music school or something.
Yeah.
The guitar, okay, it's more usual. So where are you coming from music wise? What was your upbringing or your in Deutsch sagt man Werdegang, uh, your way to Ships in the
Yeah.
Night?
The path to yeah, definitely. So my first instrument was guitar, mostly electric guitar. But I've been singing and playing piano since I was very young. Not trained in any way really. I My parents are both musicians, and I just heard music around the house a lot growing up. And just I think always wanted to be a singer. That's kind of the way I framed it as a kid. But yeah, I was playing a lot on it. My mom had this old piano, and so I would just mess around on it. Nothing like, you know, nothing in particular really. Then I would kind of write songs, and in terms of influences, I grew up with a lot of like the music that I sort of found later that sort of might seem more like my stuff that you would hear now. Was not really what I was raised on, and what I heard a lot growing up was sort of really catchy, hooky, sort of like soul and kind of Motown stuff. That was a really
Okay.
big for me. And really, that really sort of led to my love of like the hook and of the chorus that grabs you. Like I
Hmm.
really care about that. And so, yeah, and then I started playing guitar when I was about, well, I guess I was probably about 12 or so. And I loved that. And then I think I've said this story maybe once or twice, but like I had a injury to my finger. I was carving a pumpkin, which is relevant to this time of year here.
Yeah, exactly. I just caught you at the right time, so please be very careful. Wear mittens or whatever, so don't
Yeah,
do that.
yeah. I accidentally, when I was doing that, I cut my finger and couldn't play guitar for like 6 months. And during that time, I really started playing the synths more. So that kind of got me into it, and I was already sort of like down that path. But that was the beginning of Ships in the Night, all from a pumpkin.
Okay, cool. Um, so yeah, that's actually interesting influence, but yeah, it explains it quite a lot because yeah, you have a very unique style. I have to say, we already said no genres and the categories. It's tough to define. Um, and I read in your bio, Deepish Mode is an influence. So what is the music you are listening to? What is what you like?
Yeah. So, and yeah, I guess about the last question too, I cut off that, I found a lot more music. Depeche Mode was a huge one for me. Always, I mean, loved them from the very beginning. I think the first song I heard was Enjoy the Silence, which is like a perfect example of that, really that chorus that just really draws you in, and what a gorgeous song. I've I've actually played I've done some Depeche Mode covers. I
Oh,
was in a
cool.
in a Depeche Mode cover band. So yeah, that was huge. And that band is so incredible because, between their synth work and their kind of like percussion, and then their live percussion, which is so cool. But just having the kind of like the two songwriters, and just it's really dynamic, and just always loved Depeche Mode. They're huge for me. And another influence that I sometimes I think is really important is that I've always loved the show Twin Peaks. That was a really big thing for me in my late teens. And I think it really, the music in that, and kind of just the atmosphere of that show, really kind of like informed how I started making music, I think. And people, what's funny is people often will see a show and they'll say, "Do you like Twin Peaks?" And it's funny because it's like, well, is it the music? What is it about what they
Hmm.
hear? But something connects for them. So I've always thought that was neat.
Okay, cool. Yeah, this
Oh,
is.
oh,
Pardon me.
and Bowie. That
Oh,
was that was
of course. Yeah, I mean, David Bowie. It's kind of. I have to admit, I mean, me personally, I don't like everything he did, but I really, really respect that he kind of reinvented himself so often. The
yeah,
Ziggy Stardust stuff, and kind of like he really did what he wanted to do, and is. I mean, even if I don't like some of his songs, it's kind of wow. They're never boring. They're always fresh, and that's what I really really like. So he never got stale as an artist. And
yeah,
and even though he was so wide range, he was always himself. You could always distinct this is David Bowie, and
yeah,
so this is. Yeah, of course.
yeah.
Fanboy here too. How
Yeah,
can you not like him? And he seemed to be like a really nice character. Even if he was so famous, he seemed quite approachable and stuff.
yeah.
Um,
He
yeah.
just very cool in terms of genres, like that we were just talking about. That he was just bending that all the time, and it didn't matter. He was just kind of Bowie throughout that. I think that's really like inspirational too.
Yeah, and I mean, this in a time where I guess you were more. I mean, Bowie had this huge, he was a huge star, so he
Mm-hmm.
maybe could get away with it. But even I'm pretty sure his record company would tell him, okay, you stick with that because people really like that, and he said, I'm doing something else. Today,
Mm-hmm.
with everyone can do music on their own and don't need a label anymore. It's much easier to be this diverse and just but you stay small, of course, because you don't have a. See, that's a good question. You are you're independent or you are with a record company. How do
Yeah.
you put out your music?
Yeah, I do it all independently, and I have from the beginning. I was in the beginning sort of interested in labels, and I think at some point I think that, I would still work with a label if there was something really kind of that matched and felt like a really good fit and everything. But as it goes now, it's really hard to, if you do music professionally and that's how you make a living. Well, right now with everything going on in America, it's really, really weird playing music and being a musician. But in general, if you are paying a label back for the music you're selling, and you're never, it's really hard to make money, and so just on a really practical level, you have
Hmm.
to weigh the benefits with the kind of cons there, like it's sort of it's very, and releasing music independently is so cool because there's so much freedom around it, like I last week or week before, I had this cover of The Killing Moon by Echo and the Bunnymen, and I was like, I think I'll put that out, and it happened within a few days. It's not like I need an advance and then like a
Hmm.
approve
Hmm.
it, so I'm definitely not against it, and would definitely work with a label if there was something that felt like that it
Hmm.
made
A
sense.
good fit. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, what a label still can provide, of course, is like, I mean, you just said you can put out your music yourself, so you don't need this anymore. But
Hmm.
we still have some bandwidth or something, so we might be able to talk with a good producer, for example, or something, or some. Do you do collaborations? Do you talk? Do something with other musicians together?
Yeah, I've done a couple of things. Yeah, I have over the years I've done a few things, and then like recently I've even done stuff this year as well. I have a lot of friends who are wonderful musicians and who I'm always singing on their albums and kind of collaborating.
Hmm. Okay, yeah, and see, a label could help with that. But
Hmm.
besides that, I don't really know. Maybe if you have more, I guess your music is mostly digital, right? Or do you have also hard copies like CDs or something you still produce?
Yeah, I do have CDs. I have a cassette of
Oh,
Marialogs now.
wow.
Um, yeah, and no vinyl yet, but the next album will definitely be on vinyl. And so yeah, I do. And it's surprising how many people buy CDs. Like I'm always really surprised after a show that people really still listen to them. I mean, just I listen to them, so I don't know why it would be weird, but it just feels like we always think everything's gone so digital when really
Hmm.
people are listening to the music in their old cars, and I love that. So yeah,
Hmm.
there's a lot of those go out, and
Yeah, and
people
I.
order them all around the world. Like people want a CD, and that's really cool. That they're not just buying it online.
Hmm. Cool,
Hmm.
cool. Yeah, no, I completely get it. And after a show, I mean, if somebody has seen you live, it's kind of also like a memory or like a memorabilia or something. If I saw her there, and you
Yeah,
might even sign it or something. And yeah, so I would do the same, and I would get a T-shirt. So um,
yeah, t-shirts.
yeah, so as you are a solo artist. First of all, this I mean, you don't have to answer this question if you don't want to, but so was this a conscious decision? I mean, because usually you start with a band or with a collaborations and things. So,
Yeah.
but was it a conscious effort? But you do it alone, or was it just yeah? Did it never really feel that right with other people? Like I said, don't answer it if you don't want to, but. Because I'm asking because I have to admit it takes certain guts to be alone on stage. You know, I'm a little actor as well, so I know how I'm not I know the stage, but it's kind of always a little bit different if you are in a group or
Hmm.
if you are all by yourself because all eyes on you every mishap, is on you.
Yeah.
You cannot just, oh, the drums play something and I can tune my guitar or something. You know what I'm talking about. So
Yes.
kudos to you. This is, but how did it happen? Or was it just something you always wanted?
So that's a really great question. I don't know if I've gotten that question before. So with Ships in the Night, it began in my room. I was playing music in my room. I had a keyboard, I had a loop pedal, and a microphone, and that's how it all started. And so when I first sort of was beginning to write songs and was in that world, the way that I write music is really, it's really personal. Like it's really I don't, it's not mechanical in any sense. It's not, I'm not looking at music theory or, some like kind of forcing it to come out in some way.
So
Like it's very organic and,
natural.
yeah. And I feel like it's really, I think that there's something about that I often just will hear it in my head. That's how I write. It's from something I hear in my head, but like just in that in itself was a reason that it kind of started out solo. Because how can you quite explain how something sounds in your head to someone else?
Yep.
Except for so that was kind of the beginning of it, and then. For a little while, I did have a friend, a dear friend of mine, who's still a close friend. He was playing along with me, and it ended up just that he didn't have as much of capacity to travel. Like he was more interested in the writing and things like that. But he wasn't, I do a lot of touring, and he wasn't really up for that. And so he started focusing more on his music, and I went back to being solo. But it was very easy because I started solo. So it's a different dynamic. Yeah, I love being on stage. I'm like a pretty shy person in general, and especially just like I don't know, around like I get less shy, I think, as the more I talk. But I think there's something different about being on stage, and I've played enough shows now that I always get nervous. I never don't feel that, but it really is there's something really like powerful about that much of a crowd, and it's all this energy. It's like an energy exchange, and that's always been. And I think when you have a band, it's a little different because people are watching like the drummer, like you said, or they're like it's intense.
And yeah, exactly. It's very intense because with a band, you have other things to focus on. I mean, you would still be the singer, right? So you will be the main focus. But if there's any slip up or something, you can kind of you play something and I do something else or something. So you can hide a little bit in plain sight. And here your focus is all on you. So. Okay, thank you. It was you're absolutely right. When I listen to your music, it's really very. It comes from a. I mean, you can feel the emotional. It comes from a deep place. It's not just like normal pop music. Yeah, and not to hate. I like pop music, so no problem. But it's more like it's a little bit deeper. There's some other themes in it. Even if I don't get all the lyrics. And I guess you're writing the lyrics yourself as well. So and I like that. I don't mind to be kind of finding new things every time I hear it, because I change and so the song changes for me as well, and I get something more out of it or something different out of it what I haven't heard before, and that's absolutely fine with me. I don't like to. That's one of the reasons I don't like punk so much. I don't mind punk, but it's kind of usually they tell you this is the way it is. This is exactly how you should think, and this is white and this is black, and there's no middle ground. And here it's you can find things. Maybe let's talk about this. How do you approach writing your lyrics?
It's kind of all over the place, but the general sort of like, I can't make lyrics come out of nowhere. Like I never sit down and I'm like, what rhymes with this, or like
Uh-huh.
how do I, it's just that doesn't work. It can't work for me. Like I think
Hmm.
it probably can for some people, but it is not a school project or something. It's very it really comes along with the music. It's really like married to that process of building the music. And if I don't have lyrics for something, it'll stay lyricless for a while. Like I
Hmm.
won't just put something in there because I really have to be feeling it. And I know that kind of like, I'm sure, a lot of people, music's personal to anyone who like makes it, but it really, it just feels inauthentic. And if I'm going to be singing it hundreds of times on stage, if it's lyrics I don't even really resonate with, there's no point. So,
Hmm.
to answer your question, I so it's funny. I mean, the thing that I end up doing a lot is writing little like snippets and phrases, and I think this people do this a lot, in notebooks and on my phone, and just and then sort of like those, and also some poems. So that's another thing to mention, is that I have written poems and do write some poems, and those and even some from when I was really young. Like I found pieces of that, and they've kind of inspired something. And yeah, I mean every single one of my songs has like a story behind it and how it was made. Definitely, some of them are like probably not that interesting, and maybe some are more so. But yeah, it's the writing process, and I can talk about that too if you want, just how the whole thing kind of comes together. But yeah, the lyrics are like just really, if they have to, like I have a couple songs right now that are lyricless,
Hmm.
and I think will have lyrics. I don't think they're going to be instrumental, but they are. I'm waiting for the lyrics to come.
Hmm. No, I completely understand it because yeah, I think it's kind of yeah, it makes it if you don't feel it, I get this because on stage I'm absolutely with you. I still have stage fright. I'm a little like, and when on stage I'm cool, and when I'm there. But
Yeah,
also, I really like it if you perform a song and you really feel it and you get goosebumps while you're singing it, and when
yeah,
it's perfect and when it's not fake, and also the audience notices this as well. It doesn't need to be. Okay, no, it doesn't need to be the greatest piece of music or the greatest piece of art, but if you feel it, it has a certain punch. You have like a meta. How do you say this? There's something more in it. Let's put it this way. There's something that between the words, between the how you say them and things, there is some extra energy, and you give it to the people, and they can feel that it's real, and it's not like I'm doing my performance and I'm da 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 and doing this and now comes that and da da da. So they know that there is something heartfelt. That's
yeah,
maybe a good way. And
yeah. I love the way you put that.
uh, I mean, I have so many questions, but maybe let's stick with this for a moment. How does a song appear with you? We have now the lyrics, and I guess a song might be almost the same. That you have a piece of music in your head, and then you, like you said in the beginning, and then you put it on the piano or on the guitar, and then it adds from there. I guess.
Yeah, something like that. Definitely. It's so so I think generally everything starts with a vocal melody for me. And that's, because I'm first and foremost a singer. Like that's always been my, singing is one of the only things in the world that I can do anytime, anywhere, and always love it.
Hmm.
Like it always feels good to sing. It's never like, oh, I gotta, sing, and I'm really, shouldn't have to do this. It's like I pretty much sing all the time too. Like I sing just around my house and to myself, and to anyone who is nearby. But
To your cats.
oh yes, of course, of course, I sing a lot to them. But I really, really, it's just really natural. And I teach voice too. I teach some voice lessons, and I think that that's a really great place, that if students get to a place where they're just singing in their life normally, you know, like not trying to sit down and practice, but actually just kind of getting it like a sort of letting it flow into their daily life. But yeah, so it's often, and you know, it's what happens a lot with melodies is that I'll hear something in the outside world. So I have this song called Elegy. It's on Muriel Logs, and the basic melody for that, not the vocal melody actually, but the kind of the basis of that song was written from hearing the call of like a mourning dove, which I think they're everywhere,
A
right?
mourning dove, you know, like
So
a pigeon.
yeah. So I think they actually, that sounds, you know, like close at least. I think their call though is like this. They go right, and so that's the call, and I heard that, and when I was just, you know, walking around, I think, and then I sing it into my phone. I sing what I hear. And this has happened with all kinds of things out in the world, like church bells and like, you know, like a train, or like just like sounds, you know, and melodies, hums you hear in the environment. And then I'll sing it, and it's so, I mean, it's interesting because I'm not always that up on technology, but I think the interesting thing is like with having like a recorder, like a phone that uses, you know, it serves as a recorder with you all the time pretty much, is really, I mean, that's been such a good thing in music for me. So yes, I record it into the phone, usually just this like little, you know, it can be like 10 seconds, you know, but then when I get home, I'll generally go to the piano. It can go a couple ways, but go to the piano and kind of fit some chords around it, and just kind of like play with chords underneath that. And then that begins, like, then I have kind of this skeleton going, you know, that's like, okay, I've got melody, I've got these chords. And then, I mean, that part's really fun, but then I get to like the really fun part, which is getting to add drums and pick the synth sounds. Like that's my, you know, I mean, that's really what I find to be, well, I mean, anyone who's like made music electronically will tell you that it's not actually the picking, but it's getting it to sound like the thing you hear in your head. You know, how do I like translate that? And it can be hard sometimes, but when you get it, it's really nice.
Okay, thank you. You know, I always think it's funny when you hear this question often. So, what inspires you to make this music and stuff? And actually, you know, the answer is always, you know, everything, because you know, you are a living person, and you are in the world, and like you just said, church bells, the morning dove, and it's just what surrounds you will inspire you. You know, if you, I guess, you know, artists are more like tuned into the world. We kind of feel it and hear it in a different way. We kind of see the multi-layered things of a world just more. You know, they are more perceptible for this. Is this the right word? Perceptible.
Yeah.
And when you just, like you said, you know, that's why you described what, you know, every artist usually is doing. They're just like thinking, okay, because I read this book, but of course still everything else you know, inspires you or something. So yeah, thank you for this little discourse. So I just want to wrap this up. So because you are a solo artist, also you produce everything yourself. So you learned the mixing and mastering yourself, or do you have somebody who helps you here?
Yeah. So I have had so all the production. So like, you know, all of that writing and putting things together. And then I've pretty much gotten to a point where like the last few tracks I've put out, I've mixed and mastered on my own. And I'm moving towards that more and more. Mastering is not it's an art that, you know, people spend their whole lives learning, and you have a lot of really expensive machines, and I'm doing it kind of in a different way. But yeah, in the past I've had help with it, and I'm really looking forward to, with this next album I'm working on, just kind of, doing it myself mostly, as much as I can. And it's really, yeah, the mastering thing is interesting with a single track, because it's not with an album, you need everything to have this kind of flow, and it needs to all sort of have the same, not tone, well, volume for
Yeah,
sure, but
and energy and kind of
yes.
yeah.
Yeah, so they can't like mismatch. And but putting out a track is a lot less, the stakes aren't so high, and so it's been good. And mastering, yeah, it's not like a profession I'm like wanting to move towards, and so I don't know that I would ever feel like it needs to be something that, if I, that I would definitely still probably for an album be I'd have to decide if I wanted to try to do it myself, or send it away. But yeah, it's a lot. The whole oftentimes people who like the mixing and mastering aren't like, I mean, they can be really creative, but it's kind of a different part of your brain a little bit, I think.
Yeah,
So
it's more like a technical profession,
yeah,
or yeah, because it's not so much about the music. I mean, we can kind of watch past it and just see the
yeah,
lines, and on this needs to be more in the foreground, and this and there, and so I mean I completely admire them too, and you can really make, I mean, if a song is bad, you cannot make it better. I mean, you cannot make gold out of something not good. But there's really a difference. You can make a difference, and if you know the artist well, and what he or she is going for, you can kind of underline it better, and yeah, there's definitely a difference with a good mastering and not so good mastering.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's good to also get just an insight into it more, and like understand how it works, which is I didn't always know. So
Yeah, and I think, I mean, this is just my personal opinion. Um, the problem with you might be because it's your songs, and they grow with you, and you make them ready, and you have listened to them so often you cannot be objective anymore. And
yeah,
sometimes it's good to have somebody from the outside look at it and see, okay, you focus too much on this and that, but it's still your baby, but it's kind of somebody else has a different perspective. This doesn't mean he's right, or you are wrong, but it's just like, oh man, you have this nice melody in the background, let's kind of give it more space, to breathe or something. And for you it's just like, oh, it's there, and you have it in your head. You cannot be impersonal to your own song. It's kind of
yeah.
so it's good to have somebody else take a look at it. Do you do this anyway? By the way, when you create new music that you show it to your friends, and so what do you think, or do you are just so confident and say, that's the greatest song I ever did, and I'm just gonna. How,
Not, yeah, not that probably so much, but I I do actually have a story about that, which is that, one of the first songs I ever put out, I think it actually was, technically the first, because I did a video for it. It's a song called "The Floor," and it was on my first EP. And I was mixing it, and I was really stressed out about it, and wanted to send it off to get mastered. And I sent, like, I guess there's probably three or four of my like good friends, and people in my family, like the mix, and just said, like, what do you think, like, give me any feedback you have,
Mhm.
or whatever. And they all wrote back different things. Like, some
Oh.
people said, can't hear your voice, like turn your voice way up, people who really like the voice. And then someone was like, it needs less reverb, I can't understand what you're saying. And anyway, it was just these really like these not helpful
It
at
was
all.
it
It was
was tugging at different directions from all over.
it, yeah, it really was. It was funny, and I ended up just like crying. And I was listening so much, I hated the song, like I had just gotten so sick of it, like you're saying. And I didn't want to hate my song. I thought that was really sad. And also, like, I just didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to follow or whose advice was right. And I have never done anything like that since. It is not like that anymore because that was such a bad experience and it made me not like music for a minute, you know? And so nowadays, it's not that I won't get, you know, like I have a couple people in my life whose opinions I really trust a lot. And so, you know, like maybe they'll hear it. But typically what I do is I let, you know, and I think this is maybe good, you know, if I had any advice to give about anything, probably, it's just that you let your ears rest and sit away from the mix for a while. Like if you make something, put it away for a second, if you can, if you have time, and then listen to it again. So what that means for me is like I'll be done with something, or you know, like I'll feel like it's in that stage, and then I just kind of won't listen to it, and then I'll just put it on in my car, you know, and it's like I'm driving, and it's like as if I was hearing a song on the radio or something, and it's like what do I notice, you know, like what do I notice, and sometimes it's like oh yeah, like the drums are too loud, you know, compared to the vocals, like, and that you have to like listen in this really like let yourself get distracted so that you come back to it and it just seems so clear, you know what I mean? Or sometimes, and what's really great is you kind of like think about something else and then you start the song again and you're like no, this is good, I don't need to change anything and I don't need to agonize over that, you know. Sometimes things are just they're fine and they're good, and it's like it can really ruin the like energy of a song, I think, in general, if you're just if it causes so much pain. And I hate when I hear stories about people having albums that they don't release for years. Like, you know, that's such a thing that a band's been working on an album for like, you know, for like a decade or something and it never gets released. And it's like, just, you gotta put it out there. You know, it feels so good when you just release something, and even if it feels scary or like it's not perfect, it's never going to be perfect. There are parts of mine I hear back and I'm like, I might have done that like a little differently, you know, but that's okay. It's fine.
It's actually, as you were talking, I think that's actually a nice thing. You know, the word release. It's like, you know, it's your child. And you try to nurture it to you know, to the right. You try to give everything, you know, that it can stand on its own and can walk in the world, and then you have to let go, to release, you know. So this was, as we're explaining, this was just like, yeah, you know, it's like a natural process. You give birth to something and then you let it go. And it has to stay. And you, like you said, you know, sometimes you look back at your child and say, okay, you know, I could have maybe if I, you know, she would clean her room better or whatever, you know. And then you hear, okay, but you still can, you know, like Depeche Mode did, they remastered things and stuff.
Yeah.
You can go, you know, in 10 years, you take your old stuff and then you know, because you get better, you learn, you know, it's just the way it is. But yeah, anyway, thank you. It takes certain guts, obviously and honestly, to do that, to say a song is ready, because I talked with a lot of musicians and some really struggle with, they're never finished. You know, it's always a snapshot. It's never really, you can enhance there and you can do this and a little bit more of that. But you have to say, you know, like we just said, let go. And now it's the way it is. And in this moment, it feels right. And it's good that you found this point, because otherwise I would have not found you. Nobody else would have. Okay, thank you. Now we stop with, because I wanted to talk with you. You said you are touring a lot live. I mean, not at the moment. We don't need to talk about this unless you want to, because it's the same everywhere in the whole world with COVID-19. So okay, maybe we talk a little bit. How are you coping with this? Because, you know, I'm guessing you don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but certain revenue streams are not available anymore. You know, you cannot play live, and I guess this would be a big part of your income. You know, to have shows and people coming there buying CDs and you know, and getting also the energy. It's not just you know, the how you say, the financial endeavor. It's also, you know, getting feedback from your fans. It's I guess something you really enjoy. So how are you coping? If you want to talk about it, if not, we can just go on.
No, I can definitely talk about that. Yeah, it is. It is. It's hard in a lot of ways. I feel like I've been really lucky in a lot of other ways with it, though. And I know a lot of people are struggling in many different realms, way more than I am right now. And so, both in music and otherwise, But I think with music, this has been a really strange time for anyone who's a musician. I think that in the beginning, it felt like it was this sort of temporary thing, maybe, and at least, here, and that it would be over at some point. Like there was some kind of, looked like
I
some
hope
light.
it will be over at some point still.
Yeah, it will. Yes, it will be over at some point, definitely. But I think what happened is like it went from like, oh, this is more time I can work on writing music, and I'll play a streaming show, and to like, now I think it's gotten really to a point where it's sort of like, I'm not hopeless at all, but I do feel like I don't really even. It's like I can't anticipate when I'll be playing again, and I need to like kind of become okay with that, because like otherwise you just are going to be miserable thinking like, oh, I'm never. And in the meantime, I can put things out. I'm planning on releasing another video this fall winter, and also I'm lucky in the way that I teach music. I get to do music even if it's not performing, but I do that. I teach, and I teach it online right now. Like I see my students online. So in terms of income, and so I'm lucky. But yeah, it's really a weird time, and there definitely is just something so different about playing to a computer screen versus playing to a crowd. It's just wildly different.
Yeah.
Like it's not the same. Like I said, the energy exchange isn't there.
Yeah. No, I completely get it. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So you said you did a lot of touring, and let's focus on more happier times. So how did this come to pass? Because you already established you don't have a label, so you're organizing this all yourself, or do you get some help? And how do you approach this? Because I mean, this might be interesting for other emergent artists. So how can you get into nice clubs and gigs, or how did you do it? Just give us your secret.
Okay. Right. If I had it, I'd give it to you. So it's yeah, I've been really lucky. I've played a lot of great shows, and some not good shows, and I think the big thing with it is that in the beginning, you really have to work, and you have to try, and you kind of have to pay your dues, and you really are gonna play a lot of shows that like aren't like don't seem that gratifying. And if you're lucky along the way, like what happens is I think like a couple people will sort of pick you up, like, and I don't mean like a label or but just someone who kind of believes in what you're doing, and they'll kind of like it's like a band, and they want you to open for them, or it's something like that. But it really is about like it's really about relationships, I think, so much. At this point, well, not right now, but like in general, it's like I know someone in like most, not most cities and not major, just like I know a lot of people in various like places kind of all around the East Coast, especially, at least, but who I am in touch with and am friends with, and can like get in touch with about setting something up, or like they'll write to me, and so you kind of get to that place. And I've also like the biggest thing I would say with music, and in terms of advice, is I have like completely I like, well, I never really had it, but I think abandoning the like mysterious musician, unapproachable, kind of being standoffish and better than people, like that attitude is really like it's like very passe, and kind of like I think it is like basically I just I try to talk to people and be like open and warm, and I think that just gets you a lot. It really is nicer. It's more fun too. So I guess that's, yeah, another thing is like I don't try to be something that I'm not when I go to a venue, or So it's really and then you make friends, and then you have them, it's really great, then you have this network of people that you can go see, and it's really fun to play there. And so I've never had I've never paid a booking agent. I've never, it's not something like that at all, but it really is like, you really have to work, you really have to like believe in it and just do like for a while. I've had people be like, play like a show or two and just be like, so frustrated and so feeling like it's unfair and wanting so much more. And it really is like, you have to do that for a little while, and if you love it, then you should be like, you kind of should be willing to do that. And that's not to say that bands shouldn't get paid, because I have a lot to say about that. And I think they really, I think that's ridiculous. But just that,
pay to play or something. I would, I would absolutely advise against it. It's not worth it, you can play a gig for, this is my opinion, you can play a gig for free, if it's friendly and you get some exposure or something, okay, or maybe just for gas money or something. But no, never pay for putting your music you have created out there. So this is the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, it's really, I can't really imagine that as like a model that could be sustainable for anyone, And like a benefit, I've played lots of benefits, and I love that, I think that's a really good thing for musicians to do, because that's a way you can, music can sometimes feel kind of like a selfish endeavor in some ways, at times, but in other ways it's not like, I think you reach people in certain ways maybe, but benefits and things like that, where you can help really raise money for things that are important, is that's great. So like things like that, or like a friend's wedding, or like something like that.
Exactly.
We never think about the payment doesn't matter. But yeah, if it's just some club that's taking all your money, and it's silly.
No, don't do that. Yeah, fun people out there. So as you did a lot of touring, I don't want to have specific names or something, but what are your what happened to you on stage? Because things happen. So what's some funny incidents you can tell us? And you don't need to tell in which club or something. We stay professional, but it's always. Do you have some nice funny stories from touring?
Yeah, oh yeah, I mean, definitely.
Then please share.
Yeah, I guess on stage, well, I almost passed out on stage one time. Kind of funny. I mean, it's funny now. I mean, I was, singing. I was singing, and I was really into it. And I was on the floor. Sometimes I'll like be down in the floor, and then I'll be walking around, and I just stood up too fast. It was like a very natural thing. It was like, of course that would happen, but I like stood up, and then I was sort of like, whoa, and didn't actually fall, but was very dizzy. And I think I had friends watching, and they were like, we just thought you were doing some like really weird move. And I think really I was like, oh, so yeah, it's really, but the stories with touring are kind of like endless, and there's so many kind of like, terrible things. Like I remember, playing a city that had just like flooded pretty badly, and there was no way to get to like the venue, and that, that's, not a funny story, but it was really, just all kinds of things, shows being canceled right before you're supposed to play, like venues shutting down, like right before you're supposed to play, and like just things that are, touring is by nature just a really silly thing, and anyone who takes it too seriously really should.
That's actually a good piece of advice. Just, kind of have fun with it, Don't take it. This is maybe a good life advice anyway. Don't take yourself too seriously. Also, like you said, be approachable and don't be, you reached a certain height, let's put it this way. You reach a certain status, and that's really nice, but you worked for it, So, and you know how it has been to kind of play in front of 5 people and, and then go a little bit, this is not something that comes overnight. This is maybe where okay, I don't want to hate on them or something, but where younger people get this more like instant gratification, they want to put out one video and then be a YouTube star in no time. But, you have to work for it. You have to be consistent. You have to have consistent quality you put out, and be approachable, be on the road, and show yourself, and not just like, okay, I put this out and then I'm gonna be found and woof, and I'm gonna be famous. So. And I guess with you, I get also the sense, fame is not what you want. You have this, you're like, okay, this sounds silly, but like a true artist, you like to create and you want to share it with people, to get the energy back from them that you put in there. So, that's for me the truest artist, like a painter as well. They paint for themselves, but also they kind of. Or better, maybe a writer, who writes a book, who always has also, I also want to tell it to people, and I want to have, raise certain emotions if they read this and stuff. So that's why I'm using these. For the listeners who cannot see it, the cat just strolled by. I guess she gets a little bit bored. I don't know.
Might need. Oh no, her tail is basically in my tea right now too, which was.
Oh no!
Here, I'm gonna put her out. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. She loves music. It's so funny. Like anytime I'm playing an instrument or I'm she plays the harp. Actually, she plays the harp.
She plays the harp, yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. She really does. I'm not joking. I have and it's with her teeth and her paws, which can't be good for the harp, but it's very cute. So, but she just loves music. Anytime I'm making music, she'll just come in. I think she likes the vibrations or the resonance, the sound of that. But yeah, anyway, you were saying about art, making art for art versus making it for fame.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I think that instant gratification piece is such a problem with the world nowadays anyway, but with music it's just really probably not going to happen. You know what I mean? It's so unlikely that something you just put out is just going to shoot to the top, and and that's good, because that really makes you, with Ships in the Night, I can't really imagine a time when I would stop the band or stop, when I wouldn't, when people break up bands or stop making music. It's I don't think that'll ever happen for me, because even if I take a pause or something like that, first of all, it's a solo project, so it can't really break up. That's a good thing about being solo. But also just it's really, it's really I don't have a lot of, I really am making it to make the music, you know what I mean? And I don't feel like I could ever get frustrated. The amount of frustration, talk about playing shows to 5 people. I did it, in the beginning, and if that couldn't stop me, then what, you know what I mean? That's so disheartening, and it was and now I think it's so funny, you know what I mean? And I'm glad that I did it and just played, my heart
and
out.
Also, these people, they pay to see you, and they come, why would you kind of undervalue them? So they're still there for you, and I also, for myself, I talked with a lot of musicians lately, and I'm also, once this COVID is over, I will try to go to every concert that's in my area, what I like. I don't go just to support your local scene, because this is exactly these 5 people. They were there for you in this moment, and kind of it's a stepping stone, and you want to reach more people. But also, why are you disvaluing these 5 people who show up? To somebody who plays their first show, this is, and And I mean, if it's not your friends or your family, then it's really 5 people who are, oh, I give it a try. She sounds interesting. I'd never heard her. She has a strange name. What does it mean? And goes there. You can be thankful for everyone, and sometimes if you just reach one person and you touch the heart, it's worth it. That's what artists live for. By the
Yes,
way,
that is definitely. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you had this question a lot of times, but why Ships in the Night? How does this name come about?
Yeah. So Ships in the Night, it was a line from a poem, and it's not even, it's funny, it's like a term that I don't know if you like. I'm trying to think, like in German, is there a word for, is that an expression, or is it kind of just, it's from a poem, and it basically means like two people passing in
Like
on
ships
ships
in the night.
at night
Okay.
and each other. So like being so close to
Mm-hmm.
someone, but being really far because you never actually, you miss them entirely.
Okay.
And that, it's just
Hmm.
really, it was the name from the beginning. I didn't have to like think of a name. It just sort of came. I always like the expression, you know what I mean? Like just that image, actually. I just really like the image. And it's sort of fits the, the music, because there is a lot of like longing and sort of grief and that kind of thing. And there's also, there's also a lot of like light, I think, in it. But yeah, so that it really fit. And yeah, it wasn't a choice or like kind of weighing different name. It kind of just was the name. And so I started making that really early.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
But
No.
yeah, I just wanted to say about the thing with the 5 people. It's that's like you can never imagine like what music is maybe doing for someone, or in that moment what they're going through, and if it's like doing, helping them in some way. And I really have never played a show where I've played any less, I've done less because of the, the crowd or something. It's really like you said, if you can like reach one person, and that sounds kind of silly, but it's so real. I mean, after a show, if I, it's funny, like I was thinking about this, and I've talked to friends about this. It's rare that you ever play a show in music that something doesn't come from it, like something, like, and that might be meeting like a new friend, or it might be, gosh, it's happened so much, like a random person sees it and then they tell their friend who comes to see you in another city, and just like, that's constant. So it's never for nothing, it really, it's everything you do builds.
Exactly. No, that's a really good point, because it's never for nothing in a lot of different ways. Because first of all, like you said, if you reach one person, it tells 2 others, and whatever, it kind of snowballs. And hey man, there were only these 2 persons, and she played like, she was in front of a stadium, and she took them seriously, and there was this energy, and also it's also I realized this, if I guess you rehearse your things, of course, obviously, but it's never the same. I mean, you cannot rehearse playing live. Playing live is the only thing. It's playing live, and you never know how the club is, and how you are, how the mood affects you, and when you see someone in the crowd, and this is kind of, you only can learn to play live when you play live. You can kind of imagine in your rehearsal space or something that, oh, now I'm saying this, and but it's never the same, because the energy, the circumstances are always different. So yeah, as we're talking about, I mean, I'm talking about it. Do you rehearse some things, like, oh, when I play this song, I'm gonna do this, or I think maybe not, because it comes natural when you're feeling it, and you get the reactions of a crowd, that you kind of communicate what's in the moment. And see, and this is exactly what I just said with a rehearsal. You can try to think, oh, when I play this song, I'm going to say, oh, this I wrote for my cat. I mean, just putting a silly thing out there. But it might not happen when you do it live, right? Because it doesn't feel the way you would approach it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the truth is that I really don't rehearse.
Oh.
Like
Wow.
so lately I've just kind of started, because shows are so few and far in between, far between. I'm playing something on Halloween Eve, so the day before Halloween. I'm playing two shows, which is great. Like, so it's going to be for different people, different time zones. It's nice. But really, I played one in September. These are all stream shows, And with shows being that far apart, it's really become like a thing of like, I need to practice, just because I tend, when I don't play for a few weeks, I start to feel really bad. Like physically, I don't feel, I don't like, it just doesn't feel right. And so I've gotten, now I'm like getting into rehearsing, and I'm actually doing that. But when I'm touring,
Okay, yeah, you're right. You have a point, because you play every night, so you should know your stuff by then,
Yeah.
And as we are on the subject, so I guess you use some backing tracks, or do you loop everything? How do you perform live? Because it's just you. So
Yeah. So performing live, it's always been an interesting thing, because in the beginning I was looping everything. And then and that was really fun. But what I realized about looping is it's really hard to have a lot of dynamics, because once you build something up and you have all those layers, it's hard to like bring it back down and then have it, just kind of that feeling that I like a lot in my music. And so then when I got into making music, using all these, pads and leads and like sounds on my computer, I really started building things up. And I would write like a song, like one of my songs has like 26 synth tracks, and I'm not saying that in a like proud way. That's really bad. Like, don't want you. It's like,
it's a mixing and mastering nightmare.
Yeah, and not like just like in general, but really turns out that like the more sparse something is, like Lost Times, not a lot going on. There's some hints, but it's pretty basic. It's bass, drums, so I've learned to really pare it down. But in the beginning, I was definitely, and so what would happen is I'd make these crazy tracks that had almost these like orchestral sections, and and then it was like, how do I do this? Like, how am I going to play this live? This isn't going to work. I'm just one person, and it's the kind of thing where I thought like, oh, should I get other band members and we can try to do like live drums, and I don't know. And it really just was like, no, I don't think I don't think so, because I feel like first of all, having live drums, it's a really different sound, and people pull it off sometimes, but it's a little different. And also that then it becomes a touring band, and that's kind of like not what I was looking for at the time. So yes, I started using I use a Roland SP404. I have my tracks on there, and then when I play them, I have the backing, which is mostly it's the bass and the drums, but I also I play a lot of the synths live, so I take off some of the synths and like the pads and stuff off my track, and will play those live instead, just to give it more of I like that live sort of feel with it, and I love playing the piano live. I just like that, the way that feels, and then singing, and it's definitely a little weird. It's I think it gives you more freedom in terms of being able to like sing, really be like, because if I was playing like a bunch of instruments and trying to do some kind of like, rotating thing, I wouldn't really be able to give a lot to all of them, you know what I mean? So it does free you up to sing, and I do like that. But yeah, it's always been funny when I'm like, I'm writing this song and now it's here and it's in front of me, and like I don't know how I'm gonna play it, and so that's when rehearsing really is good, because right now it's like I more can like go into practice space, like start playing, and then being like, wait, how am I, okay, as I write it, how am I gonna do that? Is it just gonna be a track? Like, should I try to find the sounds on my synth that I play live versus finding the sounds like in my DAW that I write in, So it's a lot to think about.
Yeah, but I please don't don't censor yourself, because I think it's good to think about how to perform it live, but sometimes, or rather, my advice to you, if I can give you any, is focus on the song and give the song what it needs. And I think you're going to do this anyway, So if it is more a DAW synth or something you don't have on your keyboard, then it is the way it is, and you will find a way different. And also, I think this is sometimes a little bit the wrong. The audience sometimes has the wrong perception that you don't need to sound exactly like your recordings.
Right.
And this is I don't know where this comes from, that we think it needs to be exactly the same. I mean, live is you feel it live, and if you have played a lot of shows, I take it so. If you play your song to the 100th time, you find another way to tweak it a little bit, and this is also the fun of it, To I don't know, you sing an octave higher or whatever, So just for your own enjoyment, so that you are still giving it all to the song, so that it doesn't get stale for you, and you also find new nuances in it, and for this evening, for example, you feel a little bit down, and then it kind of has some more depth in this part. You say the words a little bit different or something. So anyway, you get my point. It's more like people should not expect that you sound like on a CD. That's just sometimes what I think. It's really, really stupid that people are like, okay, when you just hit play, and then you mime, and then they get exactly. So why would you go for that? Listen to this at home and enjoy it there. I mean, that's really my point. If you want to see someone, then you see interpreting. Is it an English word? Interpreting. You interpret your own music, basically. You make the version of tonight of this song, and this makes it special because it's only there for this night, for this evening, and this is the special thing for life anyway. That's why I think life will never go away. I mean, at the moment, yes, unfortunately, but I really hope once we are through this, that there's a big hunger for this, and that there's like a communion with people coming together and cherishing the music and the dancing together and having all this. Anyway, sorry, I'm I'm rambling off. Pardon me?
I think that will happen too, and I hope that happens.
I hope we are really hungry, and
Yeah, definitely.
You said something interesting, and I also think this comes with growing as an artist. Minimal music, or like the ones I love the most, Lost Times and stuff. It's if a song is good, it doesn't need much instruments. That's my personal feeling. Sometimes, I mean, in the beginning, I told you I don't like punk so much, but sometimes you just need 3 instruments or 4 with a voice to make a good song. And you can orchestra, you can make it big, but sometimes it doesn't even need to, because when I like on minimalistic music that you, as a listener, you hear something between the music. Your brain fills in the things that are not there, but you feel to be there, and I guess you get what I mean, and so sometimes it's even better to pace yourself and not to put in too much. Not just in thinking here how to perform it live or something, but also just to kind of like let it breathe. Let the song breathe, and let it the magic appear, basically.
Yeah, I definitely agree, and I really I think when you first start writing music, it's a little bit like, it feels so exciting to just keep adding more and more. And then you realize, like, you seem to take
Mm-hmm.
more and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like you said, if it's a good song, if it's, has the right bones, it'll work with even just a few things. And I definitely now try to sort of keep it that way. It sounds a lot better live too, like you were saying, but just also sounding better, not just, easier to play, but like just things sound really good when they're more like sparse and clear. And I like that. And yeah, but it's really, um, it gives each element a lot more power if there's not 20 of them, like the bass will stand out more if there's not like three different basses going,
Mm-hmm.
or a bass and a really low pad at the same time. Like it'll stand out more, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also I think it has a certain way of maturity to kind of trust yourself, in just having the little, because in another way, with a lot of things you can hide behind the wall of sound, and
Mm-hmm.
if it's little things you put out, it's more like it's brittle and it's more delicate. That's
Yeah.
the right word. And but
Yeah.
but when you have to fill it, but I guess now that I know you a little bit better, you can do it, and you can kind of have a confidence that it will stand on its own, and you can fill the gaps or um, make the magic happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think in general so much about music is just trusting yourself
Hmm.
with it. I think I'll always get like a little bit of stage fright, but when I get up there, I the one thing I sort of will kind of tell myself is like, you know how to do this, you know how to do this. You've done it so many times, you
Hmm.
got like it's not even like confidence about like being really great or like that. It's just like this is a job that you've done. This is like a
Hmm.
task that you've completed like hundreds of times, so you can do it now again. And just like knowing that what you're doing, and that takes a little bit of time to develop. Like you said, it's a little more in the maturity and as it goes. But I think it's really important. And also with writing and like, yeah, like with mixing, we talked about like just like really feeling into your sort of intuition and really there's a lot that I'm always fascinated by um, how much people actually do know, like how much they have and know, and how much they know about themselves that they don't think they know. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like kind of, and I think really leaning into that and really starting to like trust your instincts with well, I mean, just in general in life, I think is really good. But also, like it really with music, I think you kind of have to, because otherwise it's not going to be authentic. Like if you don't
Hmm.
let yourself like fall into the music that you want to make, it really. And I often say, with Shifts in the Night, something that's really interesting is like I never like tried to make it a certain thing. Like I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna be a singer and I'm gonna have like dark like blue lights and I'm gonna have like dark like black lacy clothes, and it was never like that. Each step of the way I really did just it was like really myself getting like embodied onto a stage, like it never felt like choices that were really um
Forced.
I
Hmm.
choose what to wear, sure,
Hmm.
but it was very much like natural and sort of felt like something I'd been getting ready to do my whole life, and it
Hmm.
like prepared
Hmm.
me to do thing. And I think just instead of like trying to choose some image or choose your genre or choose whatever that you're going to do, it's like just like follow yourself, like
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
yeah.
No, I'm with you. Um, I have only two more things. One fun thing I wanted to say, because I really liked what you said with your vocal coaching, that you
Mhm.
kind of just want to tease out, that people sing more. And I have a little daughter, and sometimes
Mhm.
I can hear her singing in her room, and she's so unencumbered. It might not be sounding the greatest. Let's put it this way, but she enjoys it, and and this is like we all, as children, we were all singing without a filter, without anything, and this is so good for us. It makes us. If you're sad, it cheers you up, and if you're happy, it even makes you more happy. To just people forgot how easy it is sometimes to. If you just sing for yourself, this is what I wanted to share. It's like just do it. It's a great experience, and you will not win a Grammy with it or something, but it's just fun, and just let it out, and don't censor yourself and stuff. So yeah, I wanted to just add to this, because this is a nice thing, if you can help people just to trust themselves and just open up and just sing, and it's such a great experience just to let your voice out, and anyway, that's silly, but I wanted to say it because it reminded me on that. And maybe the last thing, you said you're gonna do a video is coming out or something. So I guess you're self-producing them as well, or you have friends filming. And when can we expect something coming out?
Yeah, it's I've been working on it for a little while now. I believe that I always am like hesitant to say, dates exactly, but it should be by the end of the year, before the new year. Mm-hmm. And I'm excited for that. And that's this next song is like definitely a lot of that, sort of like that idea of trusting yourself. And I think, like there's so many blocks surrounding creativity and what we like put out into the world. And it's so easy to talk yourself into not singing or not dancing or not, making mm-hmm. art, and sometimes you think you're not good enough. But the trick is with that is that like you never can get you're not going to get any better ever if you don't do the things. You know what I mean? So mm-hmm. that's a huge music is like just push. I just like push through it. Like if I know I said before that I don't like write the lyrics if they won't come, but I do. I kind of do just like like ignore any voices that are saying like, oh, you can't write a song that is going to be as good as the last song you wrote, or you can't, whatever that feeling is. And just like that doesn't matter. Just like push it out of there and just keep going,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Exactly. And also you said something, don't take yourself too seriously, and be nice to people. And as you just said this again, I had another incident with my daughter. There was somewhere, as people were still going out, in a mall, there was a dancing stage, and they played cool music, and nobody was dancing there. And my daughter wanted to dance, but she didn't want to dance alone. And I'm like, I don't want to, there's a lot of people around here. I don't want to. But then I was like, oh, this is fun, and who cares, And I danced with her, and it was, it was just, and once after a while, you just let go, and just like if you go, I don't know how it's with you or something, or if you go in a discotheque or something, at the beginning you're a bit like oh, people are watching me, and then you let the music take over, and just who cares what people think? You cannot you cannot control their thoughts anyway. So why not having fun for yourself, and being honest with yourself, and you like it, and so just go, and don't put a scissor in your head to kind of, or censor yourself. Life is short. Just enjoy it. Okay, that's my take on it. Sorry, I don't want to take over the conversation, but
you're teaching your daughter really good things. That's really great. She sounds like an awesome.
Yeah, but see, this is because we are talking, and you brought this out, with your voice coaching, and so that because it resonated with me that you said, you kind of giving them their voice they already have. So it's kind of. We lose something in growing up and becoming this very mature person and this, oh no, you don't do that and you don't do this, but why don't you? You know, I mean, this is your life, and if you want to be fulfilled, of course you have certain things you need to do, and you need to be professional in this and this and that, but also you need to get, let loose and just be, letting out the things you have in you. I mean, I'm not talking about bad stuff, of course, but, singing and dancing is something natural. Everyone does it, but after a while, we don't do that. You sit tight now for hours in school, and we kind of bury the natural feeling. That's what I'm talking about. And so, I guess, I think you giving this back to the people, it's very gratifying.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, I always think that, you can't let the world shrink you. You keep
Exactly,
expanding.
and this is what I sensed with you. Kind of you. Yes, the world is not perfect, and so, but you can make in your little capacity, and I don't want to belittle you, but in your own capacity, you can do it better for you, and this will affect another person. Like we talk, one person sees you, and oh man, she was like that, and it's kind of, if you are honest and authentic, it will resonate, and people will get it. Basically, that's what I'm saying with so many words. Sometimes
Yeah.
I babble a lot.
No,
So,
I love it.
thank you. So, do you wanna any last words? Do you want to share something with the people out there? Something what? Yeah, you would like. I mean, any last words? That's what I'm asking.
Um, I think honestly, what you just said was so much of what I feel and believe with music, and I guess I think that music is honesty, and it's authenticity, and it should be fun. It should really be like bring you a lot of joy and fun, and that's not with every single part of it. There are going to be parts that are feel really tedious or trying, but like it's supposed to be really fun, and so keeping it that way, and yeah, like I said, just not taking it so seriously that you're draining the fun out of it, and not trying to be something you're not, and that you have everything in you already to make music, and that with vocal coaching, I really tell people that people are like, I'm just not a good singer. It's like, I always say that I think everyone can get better, at
Mm-hmm.
singing. That doesn't mean you get to some level, or, but it's just
Mm-hmm.
everyone can improve it. And so I guess that those are some words for people who maybe are trying to make music out there, and just enjoy your life, like,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, and otherwise, in terms of something to say, is just that I hope everyone is staying healthy out there and hanging on okay, because this is a really hard time, and so it's nice to have such a uplifting conversation tonight. So
Thank you for joining, and being open and sharing, because it's not, I mean, we don't know each other, so, but like now, I think I know you much better, and I got you, I think, and basically it's just being authentic and being honest with yourself and with the other person,
mhm.
So I really like that, because yeah, I think this makes, like you said, how to approach, playing somewhere, just make friends, just be yourself, be friendly, and be open with it, and also, of course, I guess you got a lot of okay. You had your last words. I don't want to go into it. So yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah,
I need to start my day now, and you
yeah,
gotta end yours, I guess.
yeah,
So thank you for your time, and yeah, I wish you all the best. Maybe we reconnect once the world unpauses itself, and
yeah,
you can yeah, tell me about your touring and stuff. Maybe coming even to Europe. Who
yeah.
knows?
I'll be back. I'll be back in Germany at some point. I know. So
Exactly. When I'm gonna see you, because yeah, I think you will be will be great to see you on stage. And I always admire this, being like a little actor and stuff, but one person can fill a stage. It's just you seem like a delicate. I don't want to belittle you. Like a delicate person, and you're there, but you fill the room, and exactly, and it's just with the energy and the aura you have, and I think this is really fascinating, and this is the great stuff we have with music, that is so. It's so universal, and it's so you can reach into people and affect them, and you don't need to be a big light show and a lot of fire and what do I know, just with being there and anyway, sorry, I'm really looking forward to see you live and to maybe my last words to how is to support your local shows. Go to the shows. Be the 5 people you have seen. The first people you've seen live and stuff. You might enjoy it, and if not, just enjoy the time with your friends and have a beer or something. Anyway, so thank you very much for your time. I wish you all the best, and stay safe and healthy too. And I hope we will reconnect in better times.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been great. It's been great talking to you.